I am going to show you the single most potent biological intervention for dissolving arterial plaque. I am not talking about managing your heart disease. I am not talking about slowing the decline. I am talking about reversal. I am talking about taking an artery that is turning into stone and turning it back into flexible, living tissue. I'm Dr. Rebecca Monroe. For over 20 years, I have stood in operating theaters, chest cavities cracked open, looking directly at the devastation caused by atherosclerosis. I have held arteries in my forceps that felt like crunchy, brittle twigs instead of elastic vessels. I have scraped out plaque that had the consistency of wet cement. And I need you to listen to me very closely, because your life depends on understanding this next sentence. Everything you think you know about cleaning your arteries is a dangerous lie. The internet is drowning in cosmetic health advice. You see influencers telling you to drink lemon water to flush your fat. You see videos about apple cider vinegar scrubbing your vessel walls. You see garlic supplements promise to melt cholesterol like butter in a hot pan. Let me be brutally honest. This is nonsense. It is biological fantasy. Your cardiovascular system is not a kitchen sink. Your arteries are not plumbing pipes clogged with bacon grease. You cannot pour a drain cleaner down your throat and expect it to wash away 20 years of damage. That is not how human physiology works. And believing that lie is exactly why heart disease remains the #1 killer in the developed world. If you have ever been told that your heart disease is just clogged plumbing, or if you've been blindly following advice to just lower your cholesterol while your health anxiety keeps growing, I want you to hit the like button right now. Do it not for the algorithm, but as a signal that you are done with the oversimplified myths. By liking this, you are acknowledging that the old model has failed you, and you are ready for the actual science. To defeat an enemy, you must understand it. And the enemy is not grease. The enemy is your own immune system. When I perform a bypass, when I look at a vessel that is 95% occluded, I am not looking at a fat deposit. I am looking at a war zone. Plaque is an active, festering, inflammatory wound. Here is the mechanism your doctor likely didn't have time to explain. It starts with the endothelium, the delicate Teflon-like inner lining of your arteries. When that lining is damaged by high blood pressure, by smoking, by sugar, microscopic cracks appear. LDL cholesterol slips through those cracks and gets trapped in the wall. If the LDL just sat there, it wouldn't be a problem. But it doesn't sit there. It oxidizes, it rusts, and your body views this rusted, oxidized LDL as a foreign invader, a pathogen. So it sends in the troops. Your white blood cells, specifically macrophages, invade the artery wall to eat the infection. They consume the oxidized cholesterol to protect you, but they eat too much. They become bloated, dysfunctional, and engorged with fat. They transform into what we call foam cells. These aren't just cells, they are metabolic time bombs. They die, they rupture, and they spill their toxic contents back into the artery wall, calling in more immune cells. This creates a cycle of chronic inflammation that builds a necrotic core, a graveyard of dead immune cells inside your chest. Let me tell you about David. David was 62, a successful architect, disciplined, intelligent. He came to me terrified. He had gone for a routine checkup, and his coronary calcium score, a measure of how much hard plaque is in the heart, was 890. That is essentially severe, catastrophic disease. David was shocked because he was doing everything right. His previous cardiologist had put him on a strict, low-fat diet. He was eating egg whites, dry toast, steamed broccoli, and skinless chicken breast. He was taking a high-dose statin religiously. He followed this regimen with military precision for 2 years. He came to me because they repeated his scan. His score hadn't gone down. It hadn't even stayed the same. It had skyrocketed to 1,100. 150. His plaque was calcifying rapidly. His arteries were turning into bone faster on the low-fat diet. He looked at me and asked, "Dr. Monroe, am I going to die on this table?" I told David the truth. Your current strategy is failing because you are starving your body of the very nutrients it needs to activate the repair mechanism. We were treating the cholesterol number, but we weren't treating the inflammation. We weren't activating the cleanup crew. I am going to share the exact protocol I used to save David's arteries, the specific molecular ingredients that stopped his calcification. But before I do, I need you to subscribe to this channel. Listen to me. The medical algorithm does not prioritize this information. It prioritizes quick fixes and pharmaceutical ads. If you do not subscribe, this video disappears into the void. And right now, there is someone in your life, a father, a sister, a spouse, who is eating a low-fat diet, taking their pills, and getting worse every single day, just like David. They are walking toward a cliff edge they cannot see. By subscribing, you boost this signal. You might be the reason this video appears in their feed and saves their life. Do not let them fall because you didn't click a button. David didn't need surgery. He needed a specific biochemical intervention. He needed to activate a protein called ABCA1 to eject cholesterol from those foam cells. He needed to activate matrix-GLA protein to stop the calcium from turning his arteries to stone. He did this with one specific meal. Not a diet, but a targeted therapeutic protocol consumed daily. A meal composed of 4 non-negotiable ingredients that work in perfect synergy to reverse the autoimmune war inside your chest. Let's break down exactly what those ingredients are and why you likely aren't eating enough of them. We left off with David, my patient whose arteries were calcifying, turning to bone despite a strict low-fat diet. To understand how we saved him, you have to understand the calcium paradox. In the Western world, we see a tragic phenomenon. Older adults with osteoporosis, brittle bones, and atherosclerosis, hardened arteries. Their bones are losing calcium, and their arteries are hoarding it. This is not an accident. It is a signaling failure. Calcium is dumb. It goes where it is told. If you do not have the right traffic cops in your blood, calcium precipitates out of the blood and settles into the plaque in your vessel walls, forming a hard shell. This is what makes arteries stiff. This is what causes systolic hypertension. David didn't need less fat. He needed a traffic cop. The first non-negotiable ingredient in the protocol is vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form. This is the most critical deficiency in modern cardiology. Your body produces a protein called matrix-GLA protein, MGP. MGP is the most potent inhibitor of vascular calcification known to science. It patrols your arteries and literally scrapes calcium out of the soft tissue. But here is the catch. MGP is produced in an inactive state. It is asleep. It requires vitamin K2 to activate it. Without K2, MGP is useless, and calcium continues to build up in your heart like limescale in a kettle. David was eating egg whites and broccoli florets. He was getting 0 K2. We immediately introduced natto fermented soy and specific high-fat aged cheeses into his diet to spike his K2 levels. We woke up his MGP. I need to pause here for a moment because I need to understand the demographic I am speaking to. This helps me tailor the complexity of future protocols. In the comments below, I want you to tell me 2 things. First, where in the world are you watching from? Second, answer this medical question. Has your doctor ever explicitly discussed your coronary calcium score with you, or have they only ever talked about your cholesterol? I suspect 90% of you will say only cholesterol, which confirms the failure of the current medical model. But I need to see the data. Leave your comment now. The second ingredient addresses the war zone I described in phase 1. We need to stop the immune system from attacking the artery wall. We used high-dose omega-3 fatty acids, but not for the reason you think. We aren't just trying to thin the blood, we are looking for metabolites called resolvins. When you ingest high-quality EPA and DHA, your body converts them into resolvins. As the name suggests, they resolve inflammation. They signal the macrophages, those white blood cells eating the plaque, to stop attacking, calm down, and exit the vessel wall. It switches the immune response from attack to repair. David had been avoiding fat, so his cell membranes were rigid. We flooded his system with omega-3s to make his cell walls flexible again and to call off the immune attack. The third ingredient is nitric oxide precursors. We utilized concentrated beetroot extract and arugula. These are rich in nitrates, which your body converts to nitric oxide. This gas signals the smooth muscle around your arteries to relax. It widens the vessel, immediately lowering pressure and reducing the shear stress that damages the lining in the first place. The fourth ingredient is sulforaphane, found in broccoli sprouts, not just mature broccoli. This activates the Nitrate-Nitrite Pathway, which is the master switch for your body's internal antioxidant production. It doesn't just give you antioxidants, it forces your cells to make their own. We have identified the 4 pillars: K2, omega-3s, nitric oxide, and sulforaphane. But knowing the ingredients is useless if you don't know the ratios. If you take these in the wrong order or the wrong amounts, they cancel each other out. In the next video, I am going to give you the specific ratios and the preparation method. If you are not subscribed to this channel, you are essentially gambling with your cardiovascular health. You are choosing to remain in the dark while the solution is sitting right here. Do not let your future self suffer because you were too passive to click a button today. Subscribe now. Secure your access to the protocol. Now that we have the raw materials, we have to build the house. David didn't just swallow a handful of pills. We constructed a specific daily meal, a vascular scrub, that combined these elements to maximize absorption. Because here is the secret the supplement industry hides from you. Vitamin K2 is fat-soluble. If you take it with your morning coffee, you absorb nothing. If you take your fiber with your minerals, you bind them up and flush them down the toilet. Let's go to the kitchen. I'm going to show you how to put this together. We are now in the kitchen, figuratively speaking. This is where the battle is won or lost. I see patients every day who bring me bags full of expensive supplements, hundreds of dollars of vitamins, and their blood work shows absolutely no improvement. Why? Because they are creating expensive urine. You cannot just throw a pill down your throat and hope for the best. Biology is chemistry. If you take vitamin K2 with a glass of water on an empty stomach, you are wasting your time. K2 is fat-soluble. Without fat present in the gut, the gate is closed. It passes right through you. David's success wasn't just about what he ate. It was about the matrix in which he ate it. We designed a specific meal, the vascular scrub, to act as a delivery vehicle. Here is the exact composition of the meal David consumed every single day at 11 a.m. Half an avocado or 1 tablespoon of premium extra virgin olive oil. This is non-negotiable. This fat triggers the release of bile, which emulsifies the nutrients and allows them to cross the intestinal wall. Into this fat base, we integrate the vitamin K2, MK7, 180 micrograms, and vitamin D3 5000 IU. You must take D3 with K2. D3 helps absorb the calcium, K2 directs it. If you take D3 alone, you are just increasing the calcium in your blood without giving it a destination. That is dangerous. A handful of arugula and crushed broccoli sprouts. The sprouts must be crushed or chewed thoroughly to mix the enzymes that create sulforaphane. 2 grams of high-quality EPA, DHA omega-3 oil taken right after the meal. We call this the Trojan horse method. The body wants the fat. it opens the doors for the avocado. And while the doors are open, we sneak in the K2, the D3, and the antioxidants directly into the bloodstream. I want to know how you are currently starting your day. Be honest with me in the comments. What is the very first thing you put in your stomach in the morning? Is it coffee? Is it oatmeal? Is it toast? If you answer coffee and a bagel, you are spiking your insulin and shutting down your fat-burning mechanisms before 9 a.m. I'm going to read through these comments to see how much work we have to do to fix your metabolic baseline. Type your breakfast below. David didn't eat this immediately upon waking. He waited. We utilized time-restricted feeding. He ate this meal after a 4-hour fasting window. Why? Because during the fast, insulin levels drop and the body enters autophagy, a self-cleaning mode where cells recycle damaged components. By breaking the fast with the vascular scrub, we are introducing potent repair nutrients into a body that is primed and desperate for them. We are hitting a system that is wide open and ready to absorb. If you eat this on top of a stomach full of pizza from the night before, the effect is blunted. We have the ingredients, we have the delivery system, but we are missing the engine. There is a specific physical trigger, a way you must move your body, that accelerates the circulation of these nutrients by 300%. If you stop watching now, you have a car full of fuel but no spark plugs. You are doing half the work and expecting full results. That is the definition of mediocrity. Don't be the person who buys the running shoes but never leaves the house. Don't let your laziness today cost you your mobility tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel right now. Commit to the full process. Do not leave this unfinished. Diet and supplements are chemistry, but your arteries are also subject to physics. Blood flow creates friction. That friction can either damage the artery or heal it. There is a specific type of blood flow called laminar shear stress that signals the endothelium to repair itself. Most exercise does not create enough of it. In the next phase, I'm going to show you the nitric oxide dump, the specific movement pattern David used to force these nutrients into the vessel wall. We have the chemistry. Your blood is now loaded with vitamin K2, resolvins, and antioxidants. But right now, those nutrients are just floating by the construction site. We need to force them into the wall. This brings us to the physics of hemodynamics. Your arteries respond to mechanical forces. When blood flows smoothly and rapidly, it creates friction against the endothelium. This friction is called... Think of it like polishing a diamond. You need friction to smooth the surface. When your arteries feel this specific type of shear stress, they release massive amounts of nitric oxide. This gas doesn't just relax the vessel, it acts as a Teflon coating, preventing new plaque from sticking. Most of you are not generating enough shear stress. A casual walk around the block does not create the hydraulic pressure required to scrub the artery walls. David didn't run marathons. Marathons increase oxidative stress. Instead, we use the nitric oxide dump. This is a 4-minute, high-intensity routine done 3 times a day. It involves rapid squats, arm raises, and non-impact jumping jacks. The goal is not to burn calories. The goal is to redistribute blood volume from the large muscle groups to the core and back again, rapidly. This creates a pumping action, a flushing mechanism that forces the nutrient-rich blood we created in phase 3 deep into the microvessels and the endothelial lining. We are literally power washing the interior of the artery. I need a reality check on your activity levels. In the comments, answer this. How many minutes per week is your heart rate actually above 120 beats per minute? Do not count walking the dog. Do not count gardening. If you are not out of breath, you are not generating shear stress. If the answer is 0, type 0. Be brave enough to admit the deficit so we can fix it. I want to see the truth below. We are nearing the end of the protocol. You have the diet, the supplements, and the movement. But there is a silent killer that can undo all of this work in seconds. If you stop here, you are building a fortress with the back gate left wide open. You are doing the hard physical work while ignoring the hormonal trigger that causes 60% of heart attacks. If you are not subscribed, you are signaling to yourself that good enough is acceptable. It is not. Good enough is why the cardiac wards are full. Do not let your ego prevent you from getting the final piece of the puzzle. Subscribe now. Finish what you started. David was eating the vascular scrub. He was doing the nitric oxide dump. His calcium score had stopped climbing, but it wasn't reversing yet. Why? Because he was living in a state of chronic sympathetic dominance. He was stressed, and cortisol is the enemy of repair. In the final phase, I'm going to show you the last adjustment we made, the cortisol break, that finally allowed his body to dissolve the plaque. We have arrived at the final piece of the puzzle. We have the nutrients, the delivery system, and the blood flow. But David had one final hurdle: his nervous system. You cannot heal a body that is running from a tiger. David was a high performer. He was constantly in sympathetic dominance, fight or flight. When you are stressed, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol is catabolic. It breaks things down. It spikes your blood sugar, which glycates your arteries, and it constricts your blood vessels, neutralizing the nitric oxide we worked so hard to produce. If you do the diet and the exercise, but you sleep 5 hours a night and live in a state of anxiety, you are driving a Ferrari with the parking brake on. You will burn out the engine. We had to force David's body into parasympathetic mode, the rest and digest state. This is the only state where arterial repair occurs. We implemented 2 non-negotiables. First, the 3-2-1 sleep rule. No food 3 hours before bed, no work 2 hours before bed, and no screens 1 hour before bed. This optimizes melatonin, which is a potent antioxidant for the heart. Second, box breathing. Twice a day, David spent 5 minutes inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding for 4. This isn't meditation. It is a physiological hack to stimulate the vagus nerve and manually lower heart rate variability. I want to see the data on this because it is the most ignored factor in cardiology. In the comments below, answer me honestly. On average, how many hours of uninterrupted sleep do you get per night? Not time in bed, time asleep. If it is less than 6, you are statistically increasing your risk of a cardiac event by over 40%. I want to see the numbers. If you are surviving on 4 hours and caffeine, type it out. Admitting it is the first step to fixing it. So, what happened to David? After 6 months of the vascular scrub breakfast, the K2-D3 protocol, the nitric oxide dump, and the cortisol break, we re-imaged him. His soft plaque, the dangerous, unstable kind that causes heart attacks, had significantly regressed. His endurance returned. His angina, chest pain, vanished. And most importantly, his calcium score, which had been skyrocketing every year, had completely stabilized. The fire was out. The construction crew was finally repairing the road. He didn't need a stent. He needed a system. We have covered a massive amount of ground in this series. We moved from the chemistry of vitamin K2 to the physics of shear stress, all the way to the neurology of stress management. Most channels give you sound bites. I am trying to give you a survival guide, but the algorithm does not care about your health. It cares about clicks. If you do not subscribe, YouTube will likely never show you my content again, and you will drift back into the sea of misinformation. Do not let that happen. Click the subscribe button and the bell icon right now. Take control of your feed and, by extension, your physiology. You now have the blueprint. The rest is up to you. I am Dr. Monroe. It has been a privilege to walk you through this protocol. Apply what you have learned, Take care of your vessels, and I will see you in my next video.